Let's begin with the aftermath of the heavy rain that's been felt across the United Arab Emirates and some neighbouring Gulf countries, a region usually known for its hot and arid climate. Flash floods have killed 20 people in Oman and 1 in the UAE. Dubai International Airport has warned of very challenging conditions and advised some passengers not to turn up due to areas being inundated by water. 300 flights were cancelled on Wednesday, with hundreds more delayed after the UAE experienced what was its largest rainfall event since records began 75 years ago. Dubai is the busiest airport in the world for international passengers. More than 86 million of them passed through it last year. That's more than London Heathrow, Amsterdam and Paris. Nirupa George is among the many passengers still stuck at the airport. She arrived in Dubai yesterday from Cairo and is trying to get to New Zealand.
We came to the airport this morning. We've already been delayed about 3 hours, and it's just absolute chaos in terms of the number of people around. The staff are doing their best to try and mitigate the bottlenecks, but the sheer volume of people means that there's hardly breathing room when you're trying to get past check-in or the passport control. Most people understand that it's outside the control of the airport and the Emirates staff, although at one point during the when we were lining up in the transit, I think I saw someone faint from the heat, and there seemed to be a mini brawl that broke out. It's no doubt testing people's patience, particularly children, but for the most part, people have actually been quite calm, and I think everyone's just tired and wants to get to their destination.
And let's have a quick look at flight radar, because we have heard that flights are moving again, and you can certainly see that from the image on your screens right now, although clearly there is still a significant backlog to clear, but flights are moving again. And we heard that a short time ago as I spoke to the CEO of Dubai Airports, Paul Griffiths, who said the airport will be back to full operational capacity within 24 hours.
I have to say that this is unprecedented and uncharted territory for us. We've had 254 millimetres of rain in the last 3 days, and the normal average for this time of year is about 8 millimetres. So you can see how dramatic the situation has been. Not since records began have we seen rainfall of this magnitude. So it's a very challenging situation. However, the teams across the airport have worked very closely with the airlines to get as many passengers away as we possibly can. And of course, the big problem is that flights have been spread all over the region as the weather precluded any arriving aircraft to come in. However, I'm very pleased to report that the airport is now 100% back to its operating capacity, and we're slowly working through the backlog.
Okay.
The difficulty at the moment, of course,
100% operating capacity, but a big backlog.
That's right.
So tell us, yes, about the scale of that backlog.
Well, the total cancellations up to now have been about 700 flights over the last few days. And of course, because Dubai is a haven for very large aircraft, that means many thousands of passengers are still seeking to complete their journeys. So the situation remains challenging, but actually we are getting more departures away, and that's allowing more flights to come in, and passengers are being rebooked on later flights. We are working very closely with all of our partners, including our hospitality partners, to keep everyone refreshed and give them food, water, and supply any welfare that's necessary for everyone. Obviously a very challenging time, but the airport will be getting slowly back to normal operations. Been a very busy morning since we reopened check-in this morning at 3 a.m. for other airlines and 9 o'clock for Emirates. So flights have gradually been getting back to normal, but it's going to take us, I reckon, 24 to 36 hours to clear the remaining backlog. But we are doing everything we can to look after our customers and make sure their needs are provided.
Yes, because obviously in this extraordinary situation, initially you had many more passengers in the airport than you would have anticipated at any one time. There were some issues around getting food, making sure that people had enough supplies and so forth. But what is your advice to passengers at the moment then?
Well, I think at the moment what we're suggesting is if people can go to sources such as the airline websites and find out exactly what the situation is for their flight, and only when they have got a confirmed departure time should they then begin their journey to the airport. And please don't arrive any earlier than 2 hours before the scheduled flight departure. Otherwise, we're going to add to the number of people waiting. And as you correctly say, Anita, we can only handle so many people at the airport before it gets incredibly busy. So, keeping everyone fed and watered and looking after them is obviously our priority. And we are working very closely with the airlines to get everyone back to their intended destination as soon as we possibly can.
The CEO of Dubai Airports, Paul Griffiths, there. Well, let's take a look at the impact on the wider region now and speak to our Middle East business correspondent, Samir Hashmi, who's based in Dubai, but currently in Riyadh. So, Samir, you may have a possible delay getting back to Dubai, given everything that we've been hearing. But talk to us about the domino effect, if you like, of what's happened at Dubai International.
Well, that's right, Anita. I'm one of those passengers who can't get back into the city because there were no flights for the last few days. It has been a massive impact, especially for the UAE, because we have to remember two things here. One part is that the UAE is the great financial tourism hub in the region. So many people fly in and out of the country. And a lot of people who are flying into Dubai airport are those who are actually trying to take a transit flight. So at any given point of time, you'll have 60 to 70% passengers at the airport who are just there for a few hours and looking to catch the next flight, whether they're flying from Asia to Europe or vice versa or to North America. Dubai airport is the busiest when it comes to international passengers because it doesn't have a domestic market. So you don't have any flights flying in within the country. All of them are international flights, and 87 million passengers fly in every year. So from that sense, it's a massive impact, not just for the region, but for the whole transportation industry, because a lot of flights have been impacted. I think Paul was saying 700 flights have been canceled in the last 2 days. If you look at since the storm started on Monday, actually that number is higher. It's more than 850 or 900. And even though they're expecting to resume and clear the backlog over the next day or day and a half, I've been speaking to some other people, they say it could take longer. So yes, it will take a lot of time, because even now in Dubai, even though the rains have stopped, a lot of streets and roads are still shut. The metro has just partially resumed operations, which is going to take some more time. So people are still not able to get to the airport that easily, even though they've opened up some of those roads, because they were busy trying to clear them up, because all these streets were swamped with water over the last 2 days, and the government has asked everyone to stay at home because it will take some time to clear up the streets.
Clearly, this has been an extraordinary event, but what kind of learnings do you think the authorities at the airport and people in the region more widely will be taking from it?
I think it's an unprecedented event because, as we have been talking about, this is a record rainfall that the country has received in 75 years. And clearly what this has demonstrated is that even though Dubai is considered one of the most advanced modern cities in terms of infrastructure and services, they clearly have fallen short when it comes to handling a situation like this where there has been unprecedented rainfall. Now, this was not anticipated. No one saw this coming. But clearly the biggest lesson for the authorities is how do they ramp up their drainage system? How do they really plan for the future? Now, typically when you talk about the Middle East, not just Dubai or the UAE, any part of this, the region, including Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, they are used to hot conditions, arid conditions, and rainfall is very little. In Dubai, I've been there for 5 years. If it would rain more than once in a year, that would be considered an achievement. There have been years where there has been no rainfall, and suddenly you receive more than a year's rainfall in a day. So clearly the city infrastructure was not geared up for it. And even some other cities in the UAE have been much badly affected because they're still flooded. Many places are still swamped with water, not just the streets, even a lot of houses. So what the authorities need to do now is to figure out ways where they are prepared for a situation like this, because as a lot of experts have been pointing out, this could become a regular phenomena because of global warming. And this could become a regular occurrence in the future.
Samir, thank you very much for that. Samir Hashmi in Riyadh, trying to get back to Dubai, our Middle East business correspondent. Thank you.